Greetings, friends. Today is a pretty special day. It is July 3rd, 2022. Precisely 6 months post-op from my January 3rd TFCC repair on the right wrist. And a couple of days ago, I think the 30th, I had my very last post-op appointment with the surgeon, and there's no more scheduled, so I'm pretty much on my own now. I think this is pretty much a really good point to make an update, possibly the last update, unless something weird happens. But going into this, I was told that around basically at the 6-month mark, that's sort of when everything is going to start moving towards being completely normal again. And there was something about the recovery that I think I misunderstood, and I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but basically in the pre-op consultation that I had with the surgeon, he basically said, at 6 months you will have unrestricted use of your wrist. And I think I misinterpreted that as you're going to be completely normal in 6 months, and it's not quite the case. When I went to my post-op, there's still certain things, a little bit diminished flexibility still. Supination and pronation are totally normal now, and that's still a work in progress. My wrist is still inflamed on this side a little bit. I was told that between 6 months and a year is when things are going to really completely feel totally normal. And the surgeon actually said that the body will still be working on repairing this part of my wrist for really up to 2 years. So I could be looking at, we still have this area here still kind of puffed out. I could be having some residual inflammation for up to 2 years after, post-op, basically. So that's interesting. Not a huge deal. I've been lifting things, again, like I said in the last video, I'm pretty much discretionary at this point. There's no more physical therapy. I'm sort of graduated out of the exercises I'd been doing, and I'm at a point where, I just know my limits. But there's been times where I pick something up that's really heavy, and I think, wow, this is too heavy for me to pick up, and then nothing happens with my wrist. My wrist is fine. So basically, my life is not encumbered by my wrist's ailment at this point. I'm still having some pain here. The surgeon examined that, and he said that basically that's nerve pain. That will sort of, nerves take a long time to sort of calm down, and it mostly happens when I'm riding my bike and I put pressure on my wrist, and then it hurts later. In general, on its own, it doesn't hurt as much as it used to, so that's encouraging. It's sort of getting better. Having some issues here when my thumb is sort of extended all the way. I get a little bit of nerve pain in here, and this is, the brace sort of came around my thumb like this, really tight, and there was a lot of pressure on that point. So that's, again, another nerve thing that should be clearing up, hopefully, in the next 6 months or something. Overall functionality, I actually just moved. This is probably the last video I'll shoot in this house, because I'm moving to a different location. I was moving stuff all the last couple of days into a truck, and I didn't have any problems. I was moving all kinds of heavy stuff, and I was like, wow, this is like, I'm able to use my wrist without any problems. I could get used to this, right? So, over the last, I think it's been 6 weeks since I made a video last, I've basically been throwing baseballs around with my friends, trying to stay in shape. I've been biking like 70-something miles a week. That has something to do with the gas prices. It's a can of worms, though. We won't go there. But my wrist has held up through all of that, and that's really, really important. So I guess, with my last series, I sort of went over a couple of questions. Nobody really asked me any questions about this surgery. I didn't have anything to answer to folks. But one thing I'd say, reflective, it's a reflective thought is that, obviously I sort of wish I got this surgery sooner. First of all, this surgery is totally worth it. my wrist is better, basically. There's some residual annoyances that are supposed to clear up in the next, 6 months or so. But basically, all the problems I was having previously with my wrist are completely gone. It's like I can do the circular motion. There's no cracking or popping. There's no pain. It's totally normal. I got some interesting scars. Got this thing here, a couple of snake bites up here. My colleagues have been calling me Cool Hand Luke. That's a pretty neat nickname. It's better than a Star Wars joke, at least. And so this surgery was totally worth it. I do sort of wish that I had gotten it done sooner. I've been basically suffering from wrist pain since 2017-ish, possibly even earlier. But it really got bad starting in like 19 and 20. And 21 was just miserable. So, but, on the other hand, pun intended, there really wasn't there's really no convenient time really to get a surgery that'll take 6 months to recover from. I happen to be in between situations here. I had about 6 months in between from one job ended and then another job started, and there was some time where I couldn't start my new situation where I was going to be moving. I had to have some downtime, and it was really perfect time to get caught on and recover from it. But there is a certain mental aspect of it where if you're completely incapacitated on one side of your body, basically, it can sort of like screw up your mental health, because you're just sedentary for so long. And I think that 3 or 4 months of having to really limit my activity definitely hurt. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're thinking about getting this surgery. But overall, it's definitely worth it. I mean, especially if I spun my wheels too long. That's something that looking back, I spun my wheels too long with physical therapy and cortisone shots and all this other stuff, and my wrist just completely didn't respond to it. So I sort of wish I got it done sooner, although 6-month breaks don't always pop up in your life, conveniently so. This is probably my last video unless something weird happens. I've been hiking a lot, and there's been a couple times where I kind of tripped and landed on my wrist, and it didn't hurt, so that was a really good thing. But hiking is something I also used to not be able to do because of my foot. So if I wind up hiking some real tall mountain, maybe I'll make a brief impromptu video at the summit about sesamoidectomy recovery or something. But until that possibly happens, I want to thank everybody for taking a look at my YouTube channel. Hopefully any of the videos I've ever made have helped people over the years. Thanks for accompanying me on this ride, and salute! Happy 4th of July!